Well, this completely turned into a super review I never knew or expected to make. F my life. But before we begin, if you like this figure in this video, head over to ShowZ store where I got it from, and use code Deemer in the Support Your Favorite Reviewer box. It sure would help me out, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Deemer's Dominion. I am again Deemer, and today we are continuing our Transformers 1 saga. And we are doing another Blokees. Transformers 1. This is the action edition of Optimus Prime and Orion Pax. In the last video, we did the Transformers 1 Classic class with Optimus Prime and Orion Pax, as well as Megatron and D16. This is just Optimus Prime in this video. And here is the beautiful box where we see that it is a dual form replica. Chest and eyes, lights glow. No brush, no glue, no cutters required, which I absolutely love. There are 272 pieces to this kit, and we are genuinely licensed. And we will once again see the side of the box as well, where we see the skeletal systems, the different poses, the exclusive weapons. It says replaceable outer armor and the matrix of leadership with the cog. And it gives you the sample of how it looks when you put things together. The top of the box, Beyond Infinity, the Legend of Cybertron. I do apologize for this. I did have to check it because it came a little bit squished together when it did arrive. As you can see here by the box, it was a little bit squished. I had to piece it together. This is the side of the box. Transformers 1, Optimus Prime, Orion Pax. And the back of the box, where we have different poses. A look at what his weapons look like. And details about what's inside, his human system, the movable body, exclusive accessories, and exclusive play features. That is the box. As always, let us unbox and begin. And as always, we have a very nice looking Blokees manual. Beautifully colored illustrations. This is a really nice one, very detailed. Here we do have the Action Edition Optimus Prime ID card. And, of course, the bits and pieces. And there are quite a few. As well as the please read all instructions before using this product. All right, so with that out of the way, let us gear up and get ready to build. Okay, so we have everything laid out here. We have them organized by color, as you can see a little bit here. Now, each one of these boards, let's call them, is called a runner. And each runner has a part number. This is runner C1, for instance. And this would be part C1, number 1, part 1, C1, number 2, etc., etc. And it's nice that they do organize them by color so that you know if you need an A, for instance, there are 5 runners for the A. So A1 through A5, only one red B1, and then C, D, E, F, etc., all the way through the end. Okay, so that's how the part system works. That's how the board system works, or the runner systems. And then you just follow the instructions. And that's really all there is to it. Again, the instructions are laid out nicely, and we will begin making Orion Pax / Optimus Prime. we're going to need runner components C2E2F1. Now I will fly through this probably off camera for the most part to get things built up and go from there. Here we have the head put together, and it was a bunch of small pieces. Sorry about the shaky hands. As you can see, very nice. Very nice Optimus Prime head. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that we had to build this inner torso skeleton part, including the shoulder joints that you can see have very nice movement in and out, up and down. I mean, this is just great as far as an inner skeleton piece goes that you have to build yourself. This is pretty rewarding. And you can already see what's going to happen here with the ab crunch, forward bend, etc. Pretty neat. Just thought I wanted to show you off the inner workings of the skeleton for that. And as we continue to build them up with the armor, this is the same torso I showed you just a moment ago. But as we put the armor in and the plates in, you can see that there becomes a bit more limitation as far as the ab crunch will go because of these plates here. So that's interesting, but we'll see how things work out. Onward. But you can also see that when he does, it does cover and give in a sense of inner working there too. So kind of neat. And then we just built this matrix with just the two pieces. This outer matrix and then the blue stone were two separate pieces. That blue plastic just slides right in. Pretty neat. And this is all plastic so far. And that's what you get with this continuation of the torso that we're making when the matrix is in. Okay, so we just built Optimus Prime's chest here. These are all separate little pieces as well in here. But then this can open up and then push back in and then just slide it back in to complete. Pretty neat. So far so good. Okay, and just to show you how these all come together, this just slides on like that. And then you have the back part that will just slide in to meet and squeeze in like that. And there you go. This is the torso with the functioning matrix inside. Cool. Okay, and here we added basically a couple pieces to the back and torso, and now we have a complete upper torso for Optimus Prime. Very nice. Okay, I did forget the ball joint here for the head there. Now it is a complete upper torso for Prime. And of course, then this just goes everywhere, being a ball joint, lots of movement, flexibility. Cool. Okay, so now we are building the waist parts, and these are all separate pieces being put together. This will be the back side, and then this will be the front. And that's the bottom. And that's the top. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the workings of the hip joint build. These are all different pieces put together to build the hip joint and the ball socket for the skirt as well. Okay, and then you plug it into the side of the waist piece here so that it looks like that. We'll go ahead and do that. And this requires a lot of force, by the way, to punch it in until you get that snap. And there you go. There you have the hip. Okay, and to show you the skirt assembly here, and this was two black joints with the two hip skirt pieces to give it that articulation that you see. And then the whole hip skirt just pops on that ball joint into that hole there. And that should just pop in like that. There's your hip. With all that movement. Nice. And now we have both hip skirt pieces on there. Okay, so we began building the arm, once again from a bunch of smaller pieces. And this is a beautiful satin red sheen on there. And that is the molded plastic itself, it's not paint. And then these are just going to pop in here to give it the joint movement, like that. There you go. Okay, and this was 2 pieces just for the smokestack, crimps together. Okay, so here we're building a double jointed elbow, again from several smaller pieces, but you can see that is going to be the double jointed elbow. What a bend. Very good, very good. The skeleton so far is proving itself to be really, really awesome. Okay, so I wanted to show you something pretty important, pretty cool about this arm joint. So remember we did see how this slides in and out? When you build it, remember the 90-degree double joint or the double jointed elbow? So in order to do that, they did this really cool mechanism where you slide the arm in and out to make sure it's probably going to be length appropriate, but at the same time, you can maintain that double bend. That is super cool. Super, super, super cool. Okay, so now we have both parts of both arms built, and you can see just snaps in like that. Nice snap. You can already see the articulation there, and it is going to have a nice 360 at the elbow as well as a nice double bend there. That's perfect. That's beautiful. That is awesome. So we'll just connect both arms together in preparation for the build. Okay, and here is the right foot with no less than 13 pieces to build this. Very articulative. Very nice. Okay, so we just built the leg part, and there are a lot of pieces to this part, but there are some fun, cool little gimmicks. This is, you end up building a double joint, but you see like this has an automatic moving piece up here for, it'll move out of the way for itself. So that's one cool thing. The other cool thing is something that's covered behind here is actually the wheels. Now, I'll show you the double joint first. Look at that bend. That's a beautiful bend. Nice way that it just slides through back and forth, and how that piece just moves back in. But as this piece moves in, or up rather, this piece starts moving out, the calf piece. And the calf piece behind it is a little cool gimmick. I don't know why it's hidden, because it's a really slick kind of thing. It's the wheels. And these wheels have a slide out feature that you can play with, which is pretty neat. It just slides, but it stays in place. It doesn't go anywhere, which is kind of a shame that it's hidden like that, at least so far in this build. So just thought I'd show you as we continue to build and get to some cool little places here. All right. And then we're just going to take this whole unit and pop the leg on. There you go. And now you've got tilts and bends galore. So very articulating so far. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the little gimmick I was just talking about here, about the knee bend here and the wheels that slide out on the inside that you really can't see when it's all covered up. Oops. These are the wheels that I'm talking about that slide out. a little bit. It's kind of a cool thing to see, but kind of wish they would have exposed them a little bit better. Okay, and here is the second leg complete. Everything moves very nicely. We got that double bend, very nice. So let's go ahead and start putting some Optimus Prime pieces together. Get his torso, get his noggin, pop, 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 pop. Lots of articulation there. Whoops. And we get lots of articulation everywhere. Looks high, looks low, 360. Boop, 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 boop. He's got that hinge there too to go back and forth. Pretty neat. Very good looking down. Very good looking up. So very good stuff there. Let's pop his arm joint in. Pop his other arm. Nice click. Looking good so far. Let's pop his waist. There we go. A little bit of that bend and up. That's nice. That's quite nice. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice 360. All right, just need a little bit of articulation to get things moving here. All right, let's get the leg in. Let's get his leg popped in there. Nice. Nice. Okay. So far, so good. Let's get his other leg in. Okay, and that popped in. Oh, wow. He's looking really good so far. Now, you'll notice we don't have any hands. He comes with a bunch of hands. So, we have a... Now, these hands came in pieces as well, by the way. Like this armor piece, you have to put on. What I like about these hands is they actually have an armor piece for every single hand option that they have. So you don't have to swap off armor pieces if you want to use different hands, which I think is brilliant. Now, a lot of these also came with a separate thumb that you have to pop in, which I'm not really sure why. It's very little articulation to begin with. So, as you can see there, a little articulation back and forth in these thumbs here. So we do have these fists that they gave us. We do have another set of fists that they give us. These are solid. You can't move anything with them. Just FYI. This is an interesting piece. They only give us one hand that holds a cog, which I think is a fun little gimmick, honestly, which is really fun. Also, again, you have to put the thumb in yourself. Now, a lot of these figures will give you a pointy finger for Optimus. What's cool about this one is they give you two pointy fingers. Two of these pin pans going on. Two of these grabby hands. Again, the thumbs you have to put on yourself. So we have a lot of cool options with the hands. Really, really happy about that. Also, again, if you remember, we still have the weapon that we can pop in. We have the effect here. And we still have yet to build the gun. And of course, you can see you have optional faces for Prime and Orion Pax. So that's pretty neat inclusion as well. We haven't gotten that far yet, but we'll get there soon. Just thought I'd show you. Okay, here is his blaster built with about 6 different pieces. The silver pieces are each unique. And there's this blue center inclusion. This is a separate piece as well. And then they all come together nicely. Okay, so if you do want to use his blaster, you do have to pull this off like this. Okay, and you do have to use the fist with the full hole in it, the full circle. And then you slide the fist in first. And then you basically just pop this whole unit in like that. And that is actually a very good compromise to holding his weapon, as opposed to another company that we've seen that actually has a very weird yellow pork way of holding the weapon. Okay, so we put together his Energon axe. Basically, this part comes separate, you have to pop it in, and then this part, this half comes separate, you have to pop it in. And since we don't have his hands in here, we can go ahead and demonstrate what that would look like with his arms in the Energon axe mode. And that is popped in real nice, really, really nicely. Look at that. That's very good. And he has all kinds of articulation there with it. In, out, up, down, left, right. It's a very playable ball socket, basically. In addition, of course, to his normal articulation. That is very, very good to begin with, too. Very cool. Nice job, Blokees. Really nice job. Now we have his special whirling effect here. We also had to put, there's two pieces here. This stud goes in, this ball joint goes in there, and the other part comes over to clip that in. And then in place of the Energon axe, we will do that and give that some whirring motion there. So same articulation pieces, but it is there if that is your thing, you like it, that's for you to play with. Pretty neat. Pretty neat so far. Okay, so what are our thoughts about Optimus Prime? So far, he looks amazing. He feels nice. The plastic that Blokees used, when it's all put together especially, it feels nice and solid. Nothing is loose, nothing is weird, nothing feels like it's going to break. The only issue that I might be having are these ears. They're a little bit, they don't want to stick in all the time. They're a little bit sensitive. Anytime I want to move his head sometimes, I mean, they're in now, a little camera shy, but because of how they are design-wise, I think it is just going to continue to pop off. So nothing a little glue can't fix. Other than that, I've seen, as I've been building, his articulation has been really solid. I mean, really just beautiful, solid, all kinds of movement, articulation. These aren't popping off like other figures. He's got beautiful, you know, extended movement, both arms, no issues. Very nice as far as the build goes. You know, the head has all kinds of articulation and movement. The waist, like we saw, goes 360. And, you know, he does have his ab crunch, which is cool. And a little bit backwards too, which is really neat. He can do a split very well. No issues there. He does have an upper thigh twist. He has that double knee bend. He's got all kinds of articulation in his feet. I mean, honestly, this is a well thought out, well designed, well built, well manufactured. The colors on him are popping even though it's not paint, which is really great for a playable figure, especially. Like, Blokees knew the assignment. They understood the assignment. Job well done, Blokees. Job really well done. You're not going to get worried about the paint scratching and things falling off and anything like that. This is a highly playable figure. I thought I was in love with the 3.0. I thought I was in love with YOLO Parks versions. Let me tell you, I don't think Blokees is missing anything. that the other competition is offering. Like zero. This is a superb figure. Now, there is no metal. So again, right size your expectations for that. But he feels nice. He feels like not cheap. There's no cheap plastic bits on him. There's no cheap anything on him. Yes, he's all plastic, but he's great plastic. He looks well, he displays well. If you just want to leave him as a display piece, no problem. I'm super happy and I'm super impressed because I wasn't really sure how the action class for this figure was going to be. And especially after doing the YOLO Park in 3.0, there's compromises with each. And with this one, I think my initial impression is there's no compromise, honestly. There's no compromise. Because you know what? We still haven't gotten to the Orion Pax build part yet. This is just the Optimus Prime. And Optimus Prime, honestly, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Do I wish he had some metal heft to him? That would have been cool. That would have been really, really cool. And I'm not upset that there isn't, though, because all his joints feel great. You know, I'm super in love with the Blokees from their smaller figures. I love them. They're fun. They're playable. I did not expect this. I'm going to tell you, in all honesty, I did not expect I would be in love as much as I am with this. I really thought it was going to be, you know, 3.0 YOLO Park, etc. But I think at this point, I think he might be my favorite. I think so. I might change my mind, but I think so far he might be my favorite. What do you guys think? Okay, everyone. So to basically change him, we have basically a bit of a compromise between YOLO Park 3.0 kind of setup here. What we need to do, we do need to pop off his torso pieces. So we're going to pop off his head. We're going to pop off his arms. And we are going to replace his shoulder pads. These just pop out like that. With his... I'll take this one out. And that'll slide off so that this one can slide in. Easy peasy. Okay. Then we're going to have to remove his front chest here. Okay. Take that piece out. We are also going to take his matrix out. And we are going to replace it with the, remember the cogged hand? We're going to take this cog out. And we are going to put it in place. 2 pegs. We're going to put them in the 2 holes here. Okay, and that just pops in like that. That stays in pretty good. We're also going to remove this yellow piece here. This one, we're going to remove that. That just slides out. And we're going to slide his other one in instead. And now we can pop his chest plate back on and our Orion Pax head. And there we have Mr. Orion Pax. And he looks pretty faithful and accurate to the movie. Obviously, all the same articulation. Nothing's going to change as far as articulation goes. You know, same thing. All we did is replace his head, his shoulder pads, and his chest armor, and remove the matrix in lieu of the cog. What I like about this is nothing is loose. Nothing is, you know, nothing is impacted from the change. Nothing's popping off. Imagine that. Can we imagine that for a moment? Imagine all your pieces never popping off. In any case, that is brilliant. I do like it. So my only things that do pop off, let's take it back, are still the ears. The cat ears still pop off. They're a little bit loose. And I was I might retract my word about gluing it back on, because you will need to be able to take them off if you want to change to the other face plates that are included. So probably instead, maybe just thicken it up with a little super glue or floor polish or something like that on the tabs. And that will definitely solve the problem and keep everything intact as far as interchangeability, playability, etc. That is that. The only thing we have left to build is the included stand. So let's go ahead and do a stand. This is the base of the stand, like this. At first blush, nothing too special. You can see. Okay. If you just wanted to put him on the stand, you could. He has 2 holes for these 2 pegs, and you can lock them on the stand by putting him into those pegs. Voila. Also has a nice Transformers 1 sign that you can just peg up here if you wanted to, like that, for display purposes. But this is also a magnet for the lights. Now, my battery that was sent with this figure must be dead because his lights don't work. So I'll have to change the batteries in order to see if it'll work properly. But then there's one more part to the stand, and that is this lift part. If you wanted to put him up on a lift or use the lift, and not entirely sure where the lift would peg in. However, it comes with a neat feature. It comes with this little rubberized thing that you can, if you wanted to, slide that on around his waist. If you wanted to. Not that you have to, but then you can lift him up, and doesn't really hold that weight there like that per se. So kind of a weak stand from that element if you were going to try and pose him. Now, balance is key. He does balance eventually. So you can have him flying through the air if you want, you know, and have him pose in the air. That's cool. You could do that, no problems. So that's his stand. You can play with him however you like. He's your toy. Okay, everyone. So before we get to some final thoughts, we're just going to do a couple of measurements and comparisons. How tall is this buddy? How tall is this guy? Right there. Right there. About 7 3/4 inches, maybe. About, what is it? 18.5 centimeters, 19.5 centimeters. There you go. So he is a decent sized figure. What about his weight? What kind of weight are we looking at? Because he's not a heavy figure, but he's not entirely light either. Okay, so it looks like he is 7.76 ounces. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on to our comparisons, our obligatory comparisons. Okay, so time for our obligatory comparisons. And the first one would probably be the most direct comparison, I would say. And that would be YOLO Park Optimus Prime / Orion Pax. And if we straighten him out a little bit so you can see, I mean, these guys are very similar in design. As you can see, very similar in height, a little bit maybe taller over here, very similar designs. As you can see now, there are major differences in weight, obviously, because there's a lot of metal here. But my goodness, look, okay, $60 once again, right? Which in a previous video, if you haven't seen it, just click up here somewhere and watch that video. And for the full review on him, because he has been one of my favorites in the saga that we're doing for Transformers 1. Honestly, superb figure, superb value. Don't want to have to get into it all again now, so go ahead and watch that video. But my goodness, okay, $39.99 on the Blokees site, $60 on YOLO Park site as of this recording. Look how similar they look. They both have light up features for the eyes and for the chest. And they come with similar weapons. We have our gun here. And if you remember earlier in the video, I think that Blokees did it a little smarter with this pull away piece that I talked about for the hand. So it doesn't look awkward. This is what I was referring to about the awkwardness, about how YOLO Park decided to go with holding the gun. It isn't really straight. It does look awkward. It feels awkward when you're putting it on. We do also have our Energon axe. So, Energon axe also. Check. Check, check. Now, not as dark and contrasty as the YOLO Park, but it is still a very nicely done axe. Okay, and you know, he's got a couple hands, accessories as far as additional hands, but this guy has a ton of hands accessories. Remember, he's got a bunch of hands to go with this guy, more than the YOLO Park one. Look at all these hands I'm putting up on here. These are all his hands. Let me push him back a little bit so that you see all those hands there. One of the gimmicks I love about this guy is this guy comes with a separate torso for Orion Pax. And while you build a little bit of a separate torso for the Blokees one, it's very convenient. It doesn't give me problems. Nothing breaks and slips. Nothing is worrisome. And you do get, again, all these parts that you can put for Orion Pax. And it's a very good compromise for this price point. It truly is. But here's a bonus item also. Remember this beautiful effect? You also get this effect. YOLO Park and Blokees, I would say, are probably the two closest of the competitors here. I like them both. I think for each of their price segments, they are great values. They are great values, and if you're forcing me to choose one, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it, because the truth is, you know what? Part of me says I don't know. As I'm talking out loud here and thinking through my thoughts, I really don't know. I don't want just one in this, because $60 is an amazing value for this guy. For everything he comes with, for the heft, for the quality, for the build. He is still perhaps my favorite of the Transformers one so far, of the builds that we did. You know, did I have some issues? Sure, you know, like this popped off that I had to glue back on there. That was my main issue, I think, with this figure. Nothing else really stands out. I do hate how they did this gun part right here. But I do absolutely love, once again, and this is always going to come back, the biggest differentiator is the extra torso for this guy. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. And I wish YOLO Park would do more of this, right? So $60 for this guy, banging value. Also, they threw in, as part of that combination, the AMK guy as well, right? His AMK counterpart, which, you know what? Again, just adds to the overall value of everything for YOLO Park. So, superb value. Superb value, I'm not gonna lie. Really love it. Really love it. But this guy, $40 for everything he comes with. Highly articulated. I mean, look, it's hard. If I just showed you those two guys right there on a shelf, would you be bothered if it was one or the other? I mean, this is a third more of the cost, YOLO Park. But you decide. So there's that. And then let's go ahead and bring over another amazing figure. Let us bring over, once again, we will bring over MDLX 3.0. Huge size difference, definite weight difference. Again, this is amazingly well made. Granted, he doesn't have the accessories that the others do, which is probably my biggest detractor for this specific figure, but man, does he feel good. He feels amazing in hand, truly. The biggest issue I had with this guy was his hip skirts. Other than that, phenomenal figure, phenomenal figure. Really love it. Love how he feels. Everything about him feels quality. Everything about him feels like, yes, I did pay 60 bucks. I got my value just from the build quality. Remember, engineering grade plastics made with the metals, and they work much better than the metal and plastic combination on the Yellow Park figures on the AMK Pro line. I'm sorry, they just do. But this guy, all really well-made plastics that work together. Nothing pops off, other than, of course, the cat ears that we had an issue with, but that's an easy fix. All these beautiful accessories, amazing to feel in hand for the price point especially, you know, and none of it is painted. You don't have to worry about scratching because all of these are the molded plastic color itself. Let's move this guy out for a moment. Let's just put him to the side. Let's slide him in the background for a moment. And let's move these accessories back out of the way. 30 MDLX. Now you can see beautiful paint job as well. You remember the review. The others that may not, go ahead, check it out when it lands over here in the corner up here. Beautiful figure. Oh man, do I love this figure. I love how he feels. I hate his hip skirt. Other than that, I wish he had two more things. Light up features. We do miss the light up features. Love the colors, the vibrance, oh man, I love how he feels. I love everything about how he feels. 3.0 really knows how to make a product. They know how to make quality. This exudes quality. And Matrix, nice, nicely painted. Nice, it's metal. It's such a shame that they didn't take advantage of that little space to put a little battery compartment to light these guys up, because that would have been amazing. Very easy. Now his transformation to Optimus Prime is very similar to the Blokees Classic class, because all you do is you change the shoulders, the head, and the chest plate, and you're done. From that element, exactly the same kind of approach, and it works for them. This approach works for these guys. Yellow Park had something else. They kind of did it with Megatron. They missed out. They missed out because what they started with this should have carried over to Megatron. I'm not going to get into that. That's another review. That was another video. Again, if you want it, click up here somewhere. I'll put that there. Go ahead and watch that ultimate comparison between Yellow Park 3.0. That was a fun one to do. There's no gun accessory. That was a miss on this figure. There's no light up accessories, gimmicks. That's a miss on this figure. The size is its own scale. He doesn't really scale with anything, really. Is that a hit or a miss? That's really up to you and your collection. You know, that is really up to what you guys like. I love, if you just want to do the MDLX things and keep that in its own scale, if that's what you do, great. I'm here for that too, because I love all the things that 3.0 puts out. I really do. Their MDLX qualities just keep getting better and better, just like Yellow Park does with their AMK Pro line. Love the fact that they do continuous improvement. They do listen to fans. They're here for us as much as we're here for them, I feel at least. Blokees, next level fan service. I love what they basically took from these two companies and came up with a best class product, in my opinion, for such an amazing price point. Such an amazing price point. You cannot go wrong with this figure once again. If you are into these types of builds, right? Here's another thing. This doesn't have a build factor to it. There's no build gimmick. If you like the builds, these are the two competitors. If you like the ease of design, these two. And then your compromises with scale, etc. Your compromises with the pricing, etc. The bang for the buck for this, I think, is probably one of the best in the group, truly. Tell me what you're feeling on these. Tell me what you're feeling. Everybody else, let me know your thoughts. Does anyone have these figures? Does anyone have a preference? Did you get rid of any and you had a favorite? Did you keep them all? Did you not? Are you thinking about it? Let me know. Do you have any questions I can help answer? No? Yes, I'm here. All right. Give me all your thoughts. Give me all your feels. Give me all your questions. Let's chat it out, because really, really difficult to choose depending on what it is you're after. Once again, I don't have the batteries for this. It came with a dead battery. I can't show you the light up feature. I really wish I did. I would be able to do that for you, but I don't. Those are the pros and the cons, my nitpicks with these groups, and we're going to go on to our final thoughts. Okay, and one more comparison we're going to bring to the table here is the one we just did before this review, which is the Classic Class. And apologies for earlier. I know I've referred to him as Classic Class. He is the Action Class. Just because of these back-to-back videos, apologies for the incorrect terminology. This is the Classic Class. This is the Action Class. So Action Class is comparative to the Yellow Park AMK Pro, and the Classic Class, which is the smaller version. But you know what? Same setups, really. Blaster, Energon, axe, nice little stand with the gimmicks, and the extra hands. Very, very neat setup. Obviously a much, much less expensive product than this one. You know, we're talking about, I don't know what, 15 bucks online, and on sales, you know, $5.99. Hell of a deal again. I mean, honestly, Blokees, like they figured out the secret sauce to doing these non-transformable figures. They really, really have. They found a beautiful balance between quality, inclusions, gimmicks, and pricing. And of course, the fun factor. You know, the fun factor, if you are the type of person that loves to build, you know, these are great for entry levels. You know, if you're intimidated, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, this is the next one to go to. There are levels for everybody so that you're not intimidated. They're very approachable, and that's what I really, 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 really love about Blokees. Separate from all the emotional stuff we talked about in the first video here. Not only that, but these are wonderful to do with kids if you got them. I have a beautiful daughter that we love to do these together. Would I do a Yellow Park AMK Pro with her? I think she'd be a little bit intimidated, honestly, at this point. Maybe too soon. She has ventured into the 30DLX ones, and not as cumbersome as builds as, of course, the Yellow Park AMK Pro lines by any means, because there's a lot less to build and do. But even those were a little bit she was nervous about. These are definitely, line is definitely kid friendly. This is if you want to up your game and spend a little more time and challenge yourself and them a little bit. And then an AMK Pro line, definitely, I would say you need to be a little bit older, definitely have a lot of patience for, and come in understanding that there are going to be several caveats to the builds. Here we have, again, Blokees, Classic Class, Optimus Prime, Action Class, Orion Pax Optimus Prime, 3.0, MDLX, Optimus Prime Orion Pax, and Yellow Park AMK Pro, Optimus Prime Orion Pax. All of them beautiful figures, all of them great. You choose what you like. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. In any case, love them all. I get them all. That is what we're looking at here. Okay, so what are some final thoughts about this set? Well, I have to say I really like it. I really, really do like it. I like most everything, to be honest. The colors are beautiful. The plastic is great. Nothing is broken. Nothing has given me concern. The cat ears are the only minor nitpick in this whole saga. You know, to transform him or take him from Orion Pax to D16 isn't really a big hassle. The plastic pieces all hold well, pretty well together. Everything looks great. He does look screen accurate. Now, is he the perfect figure? I don't know that he's the perfect figure, but he's a great figure. On Blokees.com right now, he's going for $40 as of the recording of this video. $40 for everything that you get. You know, like we talked about, you get the transformation between the two characters. You get the Energon axe. You get, you know, the different chest pieces, the different shoulder pieces. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sets of hands, plus the one that holds the cog. That's amazing. Plus you get this little gimmick here, right? Very fun as well. Plus the stand, plus the different faces. You've got 2 more sets of faces in addition to his 2 different heads. So I think, honestly, he's a really great value. A really great value if you don't mind, or, you know, if you don't mind non-transforming Transformers. If you actually like Blokees or this genre of non-transforming Transformers that you build yourselves. I've already gone through my previous video of why I have such an affection and emotional connection to Blokees itself. But this one, this takes the cake. Honestly, this takes the experience to a whole new level. This is YOLO Park level building. And when I say YOLO Park, I mean the pro level building. Is it the same quality as a YOLO Park pro level? That's debatable, right? I mean, you do get all that heft and metal and the extra torso with the YOLO Park. Fine, granted. It's also $60 plus, depending on where you get it. You know, plus what? Plus shipping, plus taxes, plus whatever. And that's if you can get it for that price. So $40 versus $60, we're assuming everything else equal. Is it worth $20 difference? That's USD currently as of the recording of this video. That's a I hate that Blokees did this to us. I hate that Blokees did this to us because they're being aggressive. I'm going to tell you, from a business standpoint, that's super aggressive. They are saying basically to the competitors, screw you guys. We know what we've got here. We've got quality. We've got pricing. We've got playability. We've got the light gimmicks. We've got the stand gimmicks. What can you guys bring to the table that we can't do for better and or for cheaper? Cheaper being less expensive, not cheaper just materials or quality, because I wouldn't consider this a cheap product from a materials perspective or handling perspective or playability perspective or gimmick perspective or any of that. So I wouldn't use the word cheap in this term, in this context. Nope. Nope, you won't get me to do it. I think he's a hell of a deal. I think if you love this genre and you don't pick this up, then shame on you, right? Like, this is not one to miss. The Action Edition is not one to miss. You know, you can get other Action Editions for, you know, $30, $40, whatever it is, going on, you know, sales. They always drop. Target, Walmart, etc., wherever they carry the retailers as well. Now that the Christmas holiday shopping spur, Black Friday, etc., I'm sure you can get a steal of a deal on these things. So, highly recommend if you love this kind of genre being build it yourself, because you do build everything in this one. There is more build factor to this than the YOLO Park AMK Pro. Done. I said it. It's true. It's fact. There is more build to this Blokees Action Edition than there is to the AMK Pro series from YOLO Park. And it's fun. It's fun because everything tabs together. Everything holds well. Everything works. Nothing breaks. Nothing's popping off for the most part, right? The only thing that I told you that pops off are his ears And that's when you touch them, not by themselves sporadically. Nothing's breaking. The stand doesn't break and it's plastic. I've had stands break on YOLO Park, you know, from their plastic ones. And those were AMK Pro ones, by the way. But because the soft plastic they use for those pegs, horrible. I'll say it, horrible. Now, when they started doing the metal screw-in ones, much better, of course. So, where does this guy sit? I mean, Blokees has really created its own niche. The niche of value. You're getting a hell of a value perspective here. Bar none. You know, there isn't, to my so far experience, and I've only been, you know, buying and collecting toys and Transformers since the 80s, since they came out. I don't think there is a better bang for the buck when you look at the totality of the picture than these Blokees. I'm sorry. We're talking exclusively non-transforming Transformers, by the way. And you know what? I would take him over a plethora of transforming Transformers, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I would. So Blokees, I commend you. Job really well done. To my viewers, this is a highly, highly recommended toy, figure, whatever you want to use him as, abuse him as, whatever it is. Don't pass it up if you like this, honestly. And if you know what, if you've never done anything and you like a challenge, okay, get this figure. You will not be disappointed. If you like building stuff, if you like engaging in stuff, if you like working with your hands, if you're bored, if you are depressed, if you have anxiety, if you have all kinds of whatever, and you want to challenge yourself and get your mind off of things and forget the world for a couple hours, get this figure. Get this figure. I promise you will not be disappointed. Now, I'm not sponsored or anything. I don't get anything out of this other than the satisfaction of having done it and honestly, truly loving it for everything that it is. And here we are. I would love your thoughts for those who have it, for those who collect these types of non-transforming figures. And tell me, how's your experience with this? Are you a Blokees fan? Are you a Blokees Action Edition fan? I collect all of them. All of them as far as the different lines go, like Action Edition, Galaxy, Defender, etc., right? I recently just started venturing into other Blokees series as far as non-Transformers like Jurassic Park, Star Wars. I'm excited to get onto those ones as well. Okay, everyone. I've said my piece. I love this guy. I recommend this guy. Thank you, Blokees, for a fantastic figure. That's my wrap, everyone. As always, stay young, stay fun. Peace out.